Welcome back, everybody, to the Agent Box. I don't know what was going on there. I need to have some words, Abir. Coming to you live every Thursday morning, 11 o'clock. My name is Sham Ghani, and with me, as always, is Abir, my co-host. How you doing, Abir?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. I'm at a different location today. I'm down south near, I'm actually in Essex this morning. But
the weather must be great down there.
No, it's not. It's not brilliant, man. It's not brilliant. It's okay. It's a bit warmer than up north, but not. It's still very cloudy, a bit rainy and stuff.
So you haven't got out your shorts yet?
No. I'm in a t-shirt, but no shorts. How are you anyway? How's your week been? What's been happening?
It's all right. It's all right. Went to Whitby this weekend. It was a lovely drive, a lovely place.
Yeah.
Needed some refreshment. Get back on the game. So.
Do you know about Whitby? You know that it's where Bram Stoker wrote Dracula.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Did you not know that?
No. I saw the statue of James Cook and all the different history, but I didn't know about that Dracula.
Yeah, the big thing about Whitby is the book Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, is set around Whitby. Although in the film they talk about London. And it's you kind of think it's all about London. Actually, it's about Whitby, and Whitby Abbey is what Carfax Abbey was basically based on.
It felt a bit spooky, but
yeah. I think Halloween, you get a lot of people descend on Whitby during Halloween. You know what I mean? But it is a nice place. For those people who don't know where Whitby is, it's a nice little seaside town in the north of the UK. On the East Coast. It's on the East Coast, on the North Sea coast. Anyway, folks, right, enough of that. Enough about what Abir has been up to. What we're going to talk about today? Well, what we're going to talk about today can be a little bit tetchy for some people, but it's a topic that I think we all kind of know about a little bit, but we don't necessarily consider different angles to this particular topic. So what is it? We're going to be talking about agents and students, okay? This idea that when a student comes to an agent, should the agent push them towards a particular university? Okay. Should they influence the student to go to a university, or should they let the student decide which university that they want to go to? So, Abir, opening thoughts. What do you reckon?
So I'll be a bit diplomat here. So if you ask any agents in the world, they will all say the same thing. Oh, no, I don't have any special university. I don't have any preference. I just think about the welfare of the student, and where that is right, I just place them there. Sorry, I cannot commit any numbers or anything with you guys. Is that your experience too?
I tell you what, funny, you've touched on a couple of things there that rings some bells for me. So, as most people know, most of my career has been at the universities, right? And I've always been involved with agents. I have been, an agent advocate while I've worked at the universities. I've always felt that we need to look after our agents, and then we'll get the best in terms of what we can get. And I tell you this, right? So I've spoken to hundreds, if not thousands, of agents about targets. Okay. How many numbers can you give me? I'll put a target against your agency. Let me get some students in the pipeline. And I'd say most agents will say this to me. I've said this to me that, sorry, we don't work on targets. It's about, what the students want, the student's choice. And you know what? On the face of it, that sounds like a nice conversation. That makes me feel, oh, okay, so this agency has got some integrity. They're not going to influence the students. We're also hearing in the newspapers how agents are influencing. This word influencing students is seen as a negative thing. And it's interesting to hear, Abir, that you're of that camp. Let me ask you a question then. Why do you think the university signed up a contract with you? What does the university want out of this relationship?
To make more money, to make more business, get more students.
And yet you're saying, I don't know whether I can give you any business. So what's the point of the contract?
That's a very valid point there. So there is a very fine line here, because if you ask me, honestly, the job of an agent is to ensure the student makes an informed decision, right? So you give them pros, cons, and whatnot. But at the same time, you cannot be a courier service. If someone comes and tells you, oh, I want to apply to XYZ University. As an agent, you just don't say, oh, yeah, give me your documents. I'm going to place the application for you. That's one way of doing things. The other way, to understand the student. Like you have mentioned this on this platform so many times, that you have to build that rapport with the student. So if you build that rapport and you understand the requirement, and then you understand, oh, this might not be the right university for that particular student. And also you have to define why not. So if you do that, are you not influencing the student decision?
Well, no, hang on a second. Let me put it to you this way, right? So let's say I've got a student that comes to me and wants to go to University X. I don't have a contract with that university. What do I do?
So we have to understand why that particular student is interested about that university. In most cases, they haven't been to that particular university themselves. It's either word of mouth, it's either friends or family members who went there or who had a high review, or in the market, like, oh, this particular university is this, that, and whatnot. Whether those things are right or wrong, we don't know. So if you don't talk.
But why do you think agents will say that they don't want to influence a student? Why is that seen as almost like a dirty word, that I'm influencing where the student's going? Why is that?
I think it's down to the fact that agents make money out of sending students. So whatever they do, because the common conception is that money-making idea is always at the back of their head. So if I send to this particular university, oh, I don't have a contract. Or if I send there, it has lower commission. So let's not go there. So again, it's a very gray area and a very fine line how you're influencing a decision. To me, if you ask me personally, influencing the decision is not a taboo or is not a bad word. I, as an agent, will definitely influence a decision. But what is my rationale on influencing that decision, if that makes any sense?
Okay, I think it does, but let me put it to you this way, right? So every university that I've ever worked for, in whatever market that they've been operating, okay, they have a big marketing team. They go out and they're on social media, they're on whatever platforms they need to be on, advertising that university in that particular market. Okay, that's step one. Step two then is let's go get some agents, because I've tested step one and I get some applications, but those applications don't come to anything. I'm not converting any of those students. So I think, okay, the best thing for me to penetrate this market, to get a foothold in the market, is let me get some agents. Okay. Now, when I go to those agents, I have a chat. The agents are very keen, very happy to sign up contracts. They don't know anything about my university, happy to sign up with me. And then, then comes the conversation, right? So how many students now can I get? And the agent says, oh, well, I don't know. I can't commit to anything. Or, and I've had this situation as well. Believe me when I tell you this. They've said, okay, so I'm going to put together a marketing budget for you. I'm like, okay, let's see what the agent's going to come up with. So they come up with a 10, 12,000 pound marketing budget. And then I say, okay, so I'm happy to spend that budget with you, but how many students can you deliver? Well, I don't know. Let's spend this money and let's see what happens. And I've had conversations with people say that's preposterous. What do you mean? You want me to spend 10 grand with you, 12 grand with you, and you can't tell me how many students you're going to deliver? And their argument is no, because we don't influence the student. So it depends on how many people come in and want to come to you. And then I've sat there, wondered many, many times, why have I signed you up? Why have I signed you up? What was the point of signing you up? Because you are not fighting my corner. Because there are 30, 40 universities almost identical to me operating in your market. How am I supposed to stand out if you're not going to influence the student?
And as an agent, if you work with between those 30, 40 institutions that are similar, if you work with, let's say, 5 or 10 of them, how do you differentiate and how do you fight from everyone's corner? Because it's just one student out there.
I tell you something, right? I'm going to tell you a quick story, right? Okay. I'm going to keep it as anonymous as I can, right? Without giving away anything. But there was a particular agent in a particular market where I used to get a lot of business from that particular agent, right? So I then moved and went somewhere else. So I contacted that agent. That agent has a contract with the place that I moved to. And yet I get nothing from him. And I was like, hang on a minute, what's going on? This is in the context of a pathway reality. Okay, I'm gonna be careful what I say here. So I went back to this guy and I said, hey man, what's going on? We're not getting any business from you. He said, oh, you know what, Sham, the universities that you want business for, they're not high ranked. My students are all looking for high ranked opportunities, blah, blah, blah. And on the face of it, it sounded like a very valid reason, very valid, very articulated reason. I then smiled and looked at him and I said, listen, mate, in my previous job, you were one of the star performers and you were sending students to mid to low ranked universities. You understand? And you were doing brilliantly. You were winning awards. That's how good you are. So why are you telling me now that it's a ranking problem? Because I know you can send students to universities that are mid to lower ranked or that are not in the traditional rankings. He then started laughing, right? And he says, oh, look, Sham, you know what? I have to keep all my partners happy. I can't just, do that. And I said, you know what, mate? That's a better conversation you can have with me because at least I know where you stand. By you saying that my options are not high ranked enough, that is one argument. The other argument is that you're saying, actually, you know what? I have other partners where I have to send students. I can live with the other partners. What I can't cope with is you telling me to change my ranking because I can't change my ranking overnight. And it made me think that, you know what? A lot of agents, the way they view their partner universities is almost as if the partner university is naive, that they don't know what's going on. And I can tell you, man, no partner university is naive. I know my colleagues. Some of these colleagues are extremely clever people that have detailed analysis of their markets and they know what the agents are doing. And the worst thing of all, they talk to each other. They talk to each other. We were talking. If I was going to go into a market, I'd contact one of my friends at a different university and say, who do you recommend? Right. And we'd have a chit chat about those agents and find out what's going on. So the only thing we wouldn't discuss that universities generally don't discuss is how much commission each other is paying. Okay.
And also, like in agents, when the person who talks to the student is usually called a counselor, right? So if you are not counseling the student, how you are a counselor? Or if you're not guiding the student in the right direction?
I'm going to put my cards on the table. My position on this is that agents 100% should influence students. Okay. A student that comes along and wants to go to my university, because I'm doing it. When I worked at a university and I used to go to a fair, you're the agent. I go to your fair, right? What do you think I'm doing at your fair? At your fair, I am influencing these students. I'm finding every single way to convince this student that every other university here is rubbish. I'm the best. Come to me. That is what I'm doing. You have opened the platform to allow me to do this. Yet your own staff are not going to do that. Your own staff are not going to do that.
It's down to the section, like how you are making that conversation. Because in my humble opinion, in my experience, what I have seen is that a lot of the times what happens, like we don't talk about like USPs or value added counseling, like this particular university. We start the conversation with scholarship, with tuition fee, then you are always rounded up with that conversation. You are never going to why that particular university could be best suitable for you.
Let me tell you something. So last night I was having a conversation with my, in fact, both of my brothers. I've got an older brother and a younger brother. I'm having a chat with both of them because they both got a child who is about to go to university, right? Each brother has a child who's about 18 and they're thinking about going to university. So my younger brother was telling me that his daughter, she basically is studying her A-levels at what we call here in the UK a grammar school. Okay, so it's these are really high performing kids that are at this school,
and your brothers must be loaded as well.
No, it's not private. It's not private at all. It's public grammar school. But my niece, she came to do her A-levels from a state school, right? From a non-grammar school, from a what we call a mixed comprehensive school. At that school, a mixed comprehensive, she in her GCSEs, she did very, very well. She'd got good grades. That's how she got into the grammar school to do her A levels. Okay. Because she scored really well in her GCSEs. They were happy to take her on, and now she's at the grammar school. But this is what he said to me. He said to me that at her her previous school, she was getting an awful lot of support. The school was very supportive, really helped her, and that's why she performed really well. Now, during A levels, she's struggling because she's gone to a school where all the students are high performing and the support isn't there. The pace is very fast, support isn't there, and she's struggling. Okay, this is what he's telling me. So now, having got that information, I felt like a counselor, because when I got that information, then she wants to study law. Then I was able to say to him, right, okay, so when you're choosing a university, how are you guys choosing a university? Because he's been taking his daughter around to various different university open days. And I'm not going to say the name of the university. He went to one which is, relatively high ranked. It's certainly a red brick university. And what he said was, this is what he said to me as a consumer. This is what he said to me. He said, oh, we really, really like the campus. The university seemed really, really nice. But he goes, there was something a little bit odd. And I said, what's that? And he said, the university, the central people that they were seeing, they were really supportive, and they made a big deal to talk about how they support their students and everything else and blah, blah, blah. But he goes, at the same time, they're telling us that their academics, some of their academics are doing world-class research. And they're very busy people, doing all sorts of research here and there. And he doesn't know about this stuff. And he asked me the question. He goes, look, if they're that busy doing all this research, where's the time to teach the students? And I thought, oh my God, this is
That's a very valid question.
Yeah, this is a really good point. Not that the university is wrong, but for his daughter, in her circumstances, given the fact that she's struggling with her A levels due to the lack of support, which is the best option for him? Now, here, I, as a counselor, must duty bound to influence him to choose a particular university or a type of university. I can't say here, well, it's up to you where you want to go. And, if you liked it, then
that's where the most important aspect of our conversation today is. You could influence a decision with that in mind, like what is good for her, or you could influence a decision in your head. Oh, if she goes to that particular university, I'm going to make more money. So let her send there.
No, but hang on a second, a bit. No, hang on. I'm gonna challenge that a little bit, right? So let's say I've kind of figured out the type of university that she needs to go to, right? Let's say, for example, she doesn't want to move away too far from home, so there's that factor as well. So she's based in Essex. London is a good option. There's lots of universities in London. Let's think of a supportive university in London, blah, 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 blah. And then I realized, actually, in London, I've only got one university that I have a contract with that fits into her profile. But there's many universities like that in London. There's probably at least a dozen universities or half a dozen universities in London where she could apply. But there's only one that I've got a contract with. What is wrong in me influencing her to that particular university?
Because so if the requirement that she has and that particular university is a good fit for her, there is nothing wrong. I think the moral, immoral conversation comes when that particular university is not suitable for her, but we're still pushing it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, and look, it's always going from higher to lower, isn't it? Because
to be honest, it's always a subjective decision, right? It's always subjective to every individual. So there is no blanket to law. I'm going to do this, do that, and whatnot. So you have to be subjective, and you have to look at it from a subjective point of view from the students' end as well.
Because I'll tell you something, Abir, the universities that I talk to right now, I know that when I'm talking to directors, I'm talking to heads of international, these guys want me to influence the kids to go to them, or the students to go to them. That's the whole point. We sit round the table, we're having a business conversation.
In fact, Shantai, I would even dare to say, just not the university officials, even a student who is coming to your office is coming to get influenced. That's why he or she is there. Because
Exactly.
you are supposed to be the expert, I
You're
came
not,
here for your opinion.
it's like what I said to the producer before the call. You're not a website. An agency is not a website where you just put all the paperwork in front and say, right, it's up to you which way you want to go. That the agency is a place where they should influence. And I'm glad you said it, that I also believe that a student comes to an agent wanting to be influenced in terms of where they need to go. So I think, yeah, look, hey, 20 minutes have gone already. I feel like we just started this conversation, man. Look, what I am going to say at this point is, you know what? And I know we sound a bit like a stuck record, but we're not. Okay, trust me when I say this, that if you have decent enough systems in place for you to be able to kind of ask the questions. Let's say you've got a system where your counselor comes in and can actually even maybe follow a guideline to ask certain questions of that student to qualify the type of university that they need. But then all of that is recorded somewhere that's easily accessible, that people can update with circumstantial, kind of situation changes. All of that, it makes for a better, more justified influence, and not just as Abir is saying, just an influence based on money. Of course, we all are motivated by money. Most of us are anyway. And we are, as agents, we're thinking about how much revenue I'm going to make. Many agents, and I know we've done it, many agents around the world will forego a few extra pounds in terms of money to suit that right student, the right particular place. But the point I'm trying to make here is that there is no harm in influencing that student, and having a system to track that influence, is actually only going to benefit you. And that segues
let me tell you a trade secret as well.
Go ahead.
On behalf of all the agents in the world, let me tell you, we all have a special university. It could be commission, it could be money, or it could be support service. It could be various different reasons, but we all do.
Do you know, Abir, certainly in the last 5 to 10 years, almost every agent that I've ever signed up, or that I've tried to do something new with, or I want to kickstart, I want to get some more business out of them, I've asked them this simple question: who's your top three? Who's your top three? And people look at me odd when I've said that. As a university, when I've said to the agent, who's your top three? And they look at me, oh, no, we don't have any, I'm like, come on, man, I know how the world works. And then people start to, if they soften, they start to smile. And it's like, because I want to know who I'm competing with. Who am I competing with in terms of your headspace? That if you've got a bunch of universities, who's your top three? What are they offering that my university isn't offering? And if I understand that, then I can understand what I can, hope to achieve through your channel. So this is something that I think you're right. I know this is the case. And to be fair, so do my colleagues at the universities. They know this as well. You understand that every agency has some particular favorites for whatever reason that is. And I don't think there's anything wrong in that. I think, and in fact, what it probably says is, as agents, we shouldn't be chasing contracts just for the sake of chasing those contracts. That at the end of the day, if a student comes in my door and he asks for a particular university that I don't have, then I have two choices. Either I can influence them to go to a university that I do have, or I can ask them to go see an agency down the road that offers, that particular university as one of their partners. And actually, then that shows to the student, I have some integrity. That, look, I don't represent that university. I can't really, I can talk to you about it, but, I'd rather you go to this other university, but there is another agency down the road that is, offering that. Go ahead. And, believe me, there are agents in Thailand who do that for Scotland. There's a particular agency, I'm not going to say any names. Those who know. There's an agency in Scotland, in Thailand, that represents Scottish universities. Most agents will say to students, if they come into their office and say, I want to study in Scotland, they'll say, go talk to that particular agent, because they are the experts. Look, guys, we could be talking about this forever. 25 minutes in. We have to say that the agent box comes to you thanks to SAM CRM. And they have the email address down at the bottom, sales@samcrm.co.uk, or you can visit the website and you can find out a little bit more. In fact, for any of our agent viewers that are going to ISEF in Berlin, SAM CRM is going to ISEF. I'm going to be there. There's going to be some other colleagues of mine there as well. If you're interested in SAM CRM, you happen to be in ISEF, definitely come and talk to us. It's booth number 78, if I'm right. I'm also hosting something at ISEF Digital the day before. So if you're around for that, it'd be great to see you.
And if you want to meet me, come meet me at Sheffield.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Look, with that said, guys, that's it for today's show. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Please have this discussion in your offices. This lunchtime or whatever time it is in your time zone, have this conversation. Should we influence students? The next student that comes through the door, the next student that you speak to, test it and see whether you can influence them in the most professional and in the right way, rather than in some kind of immoral way that people might suggest. With that said, that's it from me. My name's Shamgani and my colleague Abir. We'll hope to see you again next week. Yes, we should be back next week. Until then, have a good week. Take care.
Have a good week.